Hi there, intermediate algebra students. It's time for a little online lesson. This is section 12-2 called Multiplying Rational Expressions. Once again, we'd like you to view this, write down the notes, try the examples here. Feel free to pause whenever you need to if you need to take some more time to write down some things. Anyway, as we learned yesterday, when you hear that word rational in math, you should think fractions. And so today we're going to multiply rational expressions. Typically now these will have variables and powers in both the numerator and denominator. And as it says here, this is just like multiplying fractions. So we do not need any common denominators, no common denominators. So if you look at this first example that we have here, one thing that you can do first of all is just multiply across. So 3 times x to the 5th is 3x to the 5th. That's my numerator. And my denominator then, x squared times 6, I'm going to write that as 6x squared. Now, we like to reduce these when we can. And so what I'm going to do here is change pen colors here. And we can reduce these a little bit. Notice that 3/6, that can reduce to 1/2, and x to the 5th over x squared, we know to subtract those exponents, and so my final answer will be x to the 3rd. Now another method that you can use here, which some of you may prefer, is to actually do your reducing before you multiply. And you can do this as long as things are multiplied and divided. So when I see this 3 and this 6, I can divide by 3, so I have 2 down here. And here's x to the 5th over x squared. Again, in a sense, I'm going to divide by this x squared to get 1 down here. And then I'm going to have the x to the 3rd up here. And sure enough, now when I multiply this, I'm going to get x to the 3rd, all of that over 2. So it's the same thing that I get here. That's the same as writing that as 1/2 x to the 3rd. All right. Let's go on and take a look at another example here. And this one's a little bit more complicated, a few more variables and a few more powers. This time I'm going to try to do my reducing beforehand before I multiply. So again, I notice this 7 and this 21. If I divide by 7, 21 divided by 7 is 3, I know that. And here's a 3 and a 6, so I can divide by 3. 3 goes into 6 twice, like that. Now, I have all kinds of A's and B's. Sometimes this is a little bit complicated to look at all these. But notice, I think what I'm going to do is from here now I'm going to multiply these out. So notice on my numerator, I have an A here and an A here. I'm going to have the number 3. 1 times 3 is 3. I have A squared, because remember this is a to the 1st times a to the 1st, and then I have b to the 4th, right? A or b to the 3rd times b to the 1st is b to the 4th. Meanwhile, in my denominator I have a 2 here. 1 times 2 is 2. I just have an a squared, and then I have b to the 6th. Now I can do a little bit more reducing here. Notice that these a squareds, essentially they can cancel out. A to the 0 is 1, and so in my numerator I'm going to have 3. Here's b to the 4th over b to the 6th. Well, I know that that's going to be b to the 2nd down here. Another way I could write this is 3 over 2, and then b to the negative 2 power in the numerator if I wanted to write it like that. Next example. Sometimes you might need to do a little factoring in order to divide here. Now you might wonder, can I cancel out this 3 and this 6? And the answer is no, because you are adding those values. Remember, you can only cancel things when they are multiplied or divided. So what I'd like to do here, I notice my denominator here, and I know my factoring. I can actually factor this denominator. It's going to be d plus 3 times d plus 2. Hopefully you remember that from our factoring chapters that we've done earlier. And so now, when I see that, I can now do some reducing. Now I can cancel this and this because now it's been multiplied, so I can do that. By the way, this is gone by now. It's been factored like that. And sure enough, here's 3 and 6, so 3 goes into 6 twice. This d can be canceled out, so I just have a d to the first in the denominator. So it looks like my final answer after all this, the only thing I have left when I multiply is just a 1 in that numerator. And the only thing I have left in the denominator, I have this d plus 2 in parentheses, it looks like. And then I also have a 2 in the denominator, which I can put here. And then I also have a d. So really my final answer might look, if I clean this up a little bit, something like this. Okay, almost done here. Now I'd like you to try these two problems. Pause your computer or phone or whatever you're watching this on. See if you can try these, and then I'll have the worked out solutions on the next slide. Alright, so the first one here, I am going to do some reducing here right away. I notice that 6 goes into 12 twice, so I can do that. I notice that 5 goes into 15 3 times, like that. I'm going to actually multiply this out first before I do more canceling or reducing with my variables. So on the top here, I'm going to have 2w to the 5th. Remember, I add those not w to the 5th. Sorry about that. It's w squared x to the 3rd. I thought those were the same variables there. And meanwhile, in the denominator, then I have 3x w to the 5th. Now I can reduce that a little bit further with my x's. This x will cancel out, so I'm going to have x squared up here, I believe. And this w squared will cancel out. I'll have w to the 3rd. So my final answer will be 2/3. In the numerator, all I'm going to have left is x squared. And in the denominator, w to the 3rd. Alright, let's take a look at the second one here. Here you might notice there's some factoring that you can be doing. Again, you can't cancel things that are added or subtracted. So I do notice, and this will take some trial and error, so be patient with yourself. Notice that this denominator, I can factor this as x. Looks like a 7 and a 4 will go into 28. So I believe it's going to be minus 7 and x plus 4, like that. Right? Meanwhile, my second one here, which I'll use a little bit different color so you can see, this second denominator, I think I can factor that to x minus 2 times x plus 3. Sorry, I ran out of room there a little bit. Now it looks like I can do some reducing or canceling. Now I can cancel out this x minus 4 and this x minus 4 because they are multiplied and divided. I can cancel out this x minus 2 and this x minus 2, again because they're multiplied and divided. So it looks like my final answer that I'm going to have here, when I have my numerators here, it looks like that's just going to be 1. And then in the denominator will just be x minus 7 times x plus 3. And we can leave it like that, or we could multiply those together perhaps if you'd like. Alright, well thus ends our first lesson online. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Look for more variety and maybe a few jokes to come in future times. We will see you in class tomorrow.